Burns, Freddie Burns. Disco
Yeah.
Inferno,
Yeah,
Burns,
that
Freddie
works.
Burns. That would work for me. I'd like that.
Yeah.
Time for the big conversation. An ordinary chat show with extraordinary people. The big conversation. Let's go.
Because yeah, no, it's nice.
Nice. Is that it?
Yeah, it's a.
What about to sit on?
I'll tell you now. Yeah, I wouldn't minded a cushion.
That's the second time today that's been said. Posture-wise?
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah?
Mate, I have the body of a melted candle, mate, so I just sort of mould into whatever seat. Yeah, it works.
It works.
It works.
That'll do. I don't
Could do with
mind
some like heaters underneath because it's freezing.
So Freddie, welcome to the show.
Cheers, mate.
Nice to have you here. Before we talk about rugby, a bit of a strange question, but what was the thing you got in the most trouble for when you were growing up?
I think I got most trouble.
Yeah.
I got myself in a lot of trouble. I was like
Like at school or at home?
both. I was
Both.
like the problem child. So, for instance, I got knocked over when I was younger. I then also fell off the back of my mum's car when she was driving away. I jumped on the back of it trying to show off and then jumped off and cracked my head. I almost drowned in Malta by jumping in the sea when I wasn't meant to.
You sound like a crazy child.
I got stabbed in the back with a pencil by another pupil when I was in primary school.
Primary school.
So yeah, so literally that was probably me, like trouble wise.
Yeah.
I was always like good clean mischief, but like it was more it's more like getting myself into dangerous situations. I was a bit of a
daredevil.
yeah, a bit of a tearaway child. But other than that, I'm quite a hyperactive kid, so it used to be just, you know, every parents' evening was like, Freddie is good, but gets easily excited.
Yeah. It's the same as every kid though, isn't it?
Exactly.
Growing up?
So I just had to try and stay away from the red Skittles. But, that was about it. Yeah. No. So yeah, just a little bit of a tearaway.
Speaking about when you were a child, did you have any other like passions or hobbies other than rugby? Or did you not play rugby as a child maybe?
No, I played. I got three brothers, so they all played rugby. I played football as well. So it was a case of Sunday mornings was rugby. I started off, used to wear the old high top rugby boots.
Oh yeah.
Because there wasn't enough time, I used to finish training at 12 or the game, straight in the car and then straight up to Larko Athletic to play up front in my high top rugby boots. So that was it. Sundays was sports day, so it was rugby in the morning, football in the evening.
Football in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's a pretty busy day.
It was a busy day, like credit to my parents, and then sort of as I started getting older and rugby got more serious, obviously around sort of 15, 16,
Yeah.
I obviously dropped the football.
I mean, when you were quite young, you were a part of the Bath Academy. How key was it for you? Obviously, you said rugby got more serious about 15. How key was it for you to be part of an academy growing up and playing rugby? Like, as in, did that help you so much going forwards and when you got to professional level? Because it's quite a jump going from like club rugby to playing academy rugby.
Yeah, it was. I stayed at my local club Avon for a long time. A lot of boys left and went to Bath Youth. I just stayed and enjoyed my rugby there till I was 17. So I actually played for England 18s while playing I played on a Saturday afternoon for my old man's second team, and then used to go down and play for Avon Colts on a Sunday. So it was key to get that more experience and, you know, get coaching of a higher standard.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the most important thing growing up was just playing. I loved my rugby growing up.
Just love to play.
Yeah, I just used to like playing on a Saturday with my dad, like I said, and then on a Sunday with my mates.
So it's a bit of a family thing.
Yeah, it was. I just think, like for me, playing's the main thing. I just want to play rugby. Obviously, the academy helped. It then gave me an opportunity to go on an England 18s trial, which went really successful, and end up playing for England 18s. And suddenly you go from being, you know, a local lad to playing sort of international rugby of a certain standard. And then
was that strange jumping to that so quickly? Or was it hard to adapt maybe?
Not really. I figured you just, at that age, you just want to take on the world. You just ride the wave. Like you got no fear. You just
embrace it all.
Yeah, you just embrace it. I remember we did our England 18 Six Nations. It's called a Six Nations, but we only played 3 teams over in Cork. So I played that for 10 days. Flew back in played on a Wednesday. Flew back in on a Thursday morning. and then Thursday night I was back up, old boys
Yeah.
training, because we had a cup game on the Saturday. So I just wanted to play, mate. I just loved it. So
Yeah.
I just tried to do as much as I could.
And then obviously you joined Gloucester Academy, and you were one of a group of players that was given a professional contract. How did that make you feel when you first got offered that contract?
Yeah, it was surreal. So obviously I was in the academy at Bath, had the England 18s trial, and that went well. And as soon as I played for them, I had Northampton Saints and Gloucester come in.
Yeah.
And I said to my old man, I didn't have an agent, I didn't have anyone advising me. We just said, look, let's go up and see what they got to say. So I went to Northampton, went to Gloucester. The thing that blew me away up there was Northampton. I spent a couple of hours with Jim Allender. At Gloucester, I spent a couple of hours with Dean Ryan. And for me, Dean just set out a real clear plan of my development.
Yeah.
And for me, it was all about then being the best player I can be. I just want to play Premiership
Yeah.
rugby. It would have been great to do it for Bath, but I didn't see myself developing that well under the structure that was in place then. So, Bath offered me a contract, but I felt the best place for me to develop would have been Gloucester. So I went there, and it was just massive excitement, to play. To have those kind of clubs come and knock on the door, number one, is huge. And then to sign for a club like Gloucester was great. And then I went on loan to Cinderford for a year.
Yeah.
Sort of earned my stripes there, and then the next year I managed to break into the first team.
And you renewed your contract and stayed at Gloucester for a while. Did you see yourself staying there long term?
Yeah, I really did. Even 6 months prior to deciding to leave Gloucester, I never saw myself playing anywhere else. It's a great place to play. I had a great time at King's Home. Made a fair few appearances for a young lad, and it just that season just didn't go well for me. It started poorly as a team and individually, and I just suddenly, after a few months, I just felt like I was stuck in a rut. And for me, I'd already played for England at that point, so it was, I had those ambitions as well. And then obviously Leicester came knocking.
So was that the motivation to go to Leicester? You just felt like you needed to something else to just boost your career on a little bit?
A little bit. It's always hard to say, but it's like
almost like needed a change of scenery to just.
I wanted to win things at the end of the day, and in that Gloucester team we had one semi-final in the Premiership. I think it was 2012, and then I just felt we weren't really competing. I felt like we were sort of finishing 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th. And then obviously the main factor was Leicester came knocking. If
very difficult to turn down.
It is, yeah. I mean, I met with Richard Cockrell and Simon Cohen, and Leicester really went hard to get me, which, again, when a team like Leicester comes and the size of it, you have to stand up and take notice. And again, it goes back to the same reason why I left Bath. It was all about becoming the best player I could be.
Yeah.
It's incredibly selfish, but it's my career, and
you're in charge of it at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so.
I would have loved to have stayed at Gloucester. It was, and obviously that whole saga got played out for quite a long period.
Yeah.
But then saying that at 23, which is still pretty young, I learned a lot about myself. Yeah. I learned a lot about rugby.
Do you have any regrets from that?
Nah, no regrets. No regrets from the decision. Maybe how it got handled.
Yeah, because it was drawn out for a while after you did go to Leicester. But did that ever get you down a bit, or?
Mate, my confidence was shot, mate, at Gloucester. I spent my last 6 months at Gloucester was horrible. It was tough to get up. It was tough to go into training. It was tough to go and play. It was just, the way it got played. I tried to be as honest as I could, and I realised that sometimes honesty maybe isn't the best policy, and it got written out in the media that my heart wasn't in it and stuff like that, which wasn't the case. I was desperate to do well, and I think I just kind of tried too hard in some ways. And the big thing for me at Gloucester was I've been lucky that everywhere I've gone I've had a good relationship with the supporters.
Yeah.
And for some reason that relationship broke down. I remember my mum.
It's quite an aggressive place to play as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I remember one game, my mum was in tears after the game because of the abuse I was getting from the crowd. And when you see, I guess one of the things, people see rugby players and they see it as an individual, but my family live and breathe every moment with me. So it was tough to see my mum upset, and I was grumpy, and I didn't really talk to people. I just sort of go home, lock myself away, and just sort of try and pass the time. So mate, it was a real tough time, really. It was, it was mentally, it was so hard, but I think that I learned an incredible amount from that experience.
Yeah.
And obviously, I expect we'll get onto it, but with the move from Leicester last year, I felt I could handle that a lot better, having gone through the experiences I went through at Gloucester.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously developed not just as a player but as a person from that move, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, you've got to, in life it's not easy, is it? Like, there's always hurdles and obstacles, and it was just it's just one of those things. I was young. I was 23. It's quite a big deal for a guy to go through like that, and it's just a shame that it ended.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit more sour than I wanted to.
Yeah. When you were, on a lighter note, when you were at Leicester, we couldn't help notice, watching highlight reels of yourself, how many interceptions you made and scored tries from them. Like, it was unbelievable. Every single highlight was like you making an interception and running the whole length of the pitch and scoring. Is that like something that you've always done?
Growing up, I used to do it.
It's like you just had an eye for a pass. You'd be there even if it didn't look like the pass was coming.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. I try to read it. I think early in my career, because it can also be a hindrance as well. If you shoot out the line and they take that hole inside you, it's you get a bit of a bollocking. But I guess it's one of those things. I just try and read the pass, and for me, as probably quite a slight guy for a rugby player, I always want to get off the line and try and hit a guy before he's got a run up on me. And I guess I do that, and if the pass is coming, I might try and pick it off. And last year especially, I went through a little stage of picking a few off.
Yeah.
Didn't quite release the handbrake on a few of them, and I was a bit slow. But
well, like you say, it can always go the wrong way as well if you open up that gap.
Yeah, nice. But I've always been one of those players. I kind of live and die by the sword. I just if I see something's on, I'll back myself to execute it. I think just as my career's gone on, I've got better at the when and wheres.
Well, especially in your position, that creativity. I mean, you like playing a few cross-field kicks and little chips through the gap and things like that. That creativity must help you to get confidence and noticed by coaches as well, playing in that position.
Yeah, I like to think so. I think it's one of those. It's all about when and where with them. Back in my career, I'd try and chip out from my own line, and I'd get a bollocking on a Monday morning. Whereas now, I'm probably a lot more selective. But I've always felt like I've been a player who can control a game, who can manage a game.
Yeah.
But because of my, I guess, sort of maverick flair ability, that kind of takes a stronger view in people's minds. Does that make sense? So I guess as I've matured, I've learned to manage games a bit more. But I feel like I've always had that. It's just trying to bring that little bit of something special to a game. Is what I enjoy. But sometimes it don't go your way.
Sometimes it does, though.
Sometimes it does, and those times they go on a highlights reel.
Exactly. So you mentioned it earlier, but at the start of this year, you made a deal to essentially swap clubs with George Ford, and then obviously you knew you'd be coming back to Bath from about January, was it?
February.
January, February. What was it like knowing that you were leaving Leicester, but then still finishing out the season? Because that must be quite strange. Or was it easy for you you were still a Leicester player, but
it was tough because I've said in a lot of media interviews and stuff like that. I wanted to see my contract out at Leicester. I still had another year. Doesn't mean I got a great deal out of it in coming back and playing for Bath. The hardest thing for me to take was the fact that it feels like the club deemed you not good enough. That makes sense, and that's probably without getting my violin out. As a player, you always want to believe you're the best in your position and that you're the best option for the club.
Yeah.
And when they turn around and say they reckon they got someone who can do it better,
bit of a kick in the teeth.
Yeah, it is, mate. And it's just one of those things. I think soon as it got, there was rumours around for ages as well, which were sort of hung over me for since June. I remember being on the beach in Turkey and getting a text from a mate saying that the deal was happening. So I called Leicester and asked, and I was told that it wasn't. And I asked a few times throughout the year, and told that I'd be staying and seeing my contract out at Leicester, to be told in February that it wasn't happening.
And that must be frustrating as well, to be told by the club that you're going to be sticking around, and then a couple of months later I know it's business at the end of the day and deals get made, but on your point of view, it must be a bit frustrating when that kind of thing happens.
Oh mate, it's gutting, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like you say, you for the club to be sort of shipping you out as such is quite tough to take. But like I said, like I have no ill feeling towards Leicester. You know, I've got a great deal out of it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be at Bath. Obviously, it's a great club to be at. No, and I guess the tough thing was I had good relationships, or I felt I had good relationships with the board, with the coaches, with the fans. And yeah, it was just disappointing more than anything. But you know, it's like you say, it's sport. I think the game's changing a lot now. You've seen a couple of other deals like it where, you know, swaps and players leaving early from contracts. So if that's the way the sport goes, it's the way the sport goes. You know, I'm a big boy. I can take it.
Yeah.
Doesn't say it doesn't hurt, but you just move on. And you know, I'm just pleased that I was able to see out my time at Leicester, you know, pretty positively, and then get down here and crack on with the quality team down here.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that obviously now you're back at Bath, where you played as a teenager. How was it for you when you came back, and you've played some minutes now in the game so far this season? What was it like playing at the Rec with a professional Bath shirt on, rather than if you've been there in an academy game or whatever? Yeah,
it was very surreal. Like, it almost didn't feel like it didn't feel like it was real. It felt like it was just a bit of a it was. It just felt in a weird way. It kind of felt like a sort of testimonial game type thing.
Yeah.
Like it was honestly, it's hard to put into how it felt. But for me, you know, just immense pride. All my family were there to watch. Obviously, a lot of friends in the crowd.
Crowd behind you as well.
It was great. Like, they gave me a good reception, which is always nice. And obviously, we got a good win against the European champions. So it's it was a hell of a day. It was good to get on and contribute. But yeah, it was good just to get out there and sort of feel the energy from the crowd, and you know, to have that badge on my chest and the blue, black and white on is something that I dreamt of as a kid. So, you know, it was dream come true, really.
Obviously, Bath have started reasonably well to the season, but what do you make of the current setup that you've got at Bath, and looking forward at the season, how do you see things panning out?
Yeah, I think the setup's really good. I think the infrastructure of the club and the facilities it's got are second to none. I mean, Farley's absolutely world class. I think in Todd Blackadder and the rest of the coaching staff, we've got a great setup. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Tabai Matson's going to be leaving. He's going back to New Zealand for family reasons, which is something that can't be avoided. But
can't be helped.
No, I think he'll be a huge loss to the club. You know, I've not had a great deal to do with him, obviously, in his time here, but you see in pre-season the effect he has on the boys and the kind of bloke he is, so he'll be a massive loss. But you know, we've got a good senior player group at Bath. A lot of boys gone through a lot of big experiences. You've got a few Lions in there, plenty of international experience, plenty of Premiership experience, so you know, the squad's in a really good place. We just want to kick on. Obviously, we've had 2 good wins so far, and it's all about backing it up. You know, 2 wins out of 22 or whatever it is in the Premiership.
100%,
is a good start, but there's still a hell of a long way to go. And that's the main thing. We just want to keep improving and getting better week on week, and hopefully we can keep getting the results.
Did you feel like a real new boy in the changing rooms, or was it like being home when you walked back in?
It's weird because it was different for me, because
did they welcome you with open arms?
Yeah, a little bit. I took a bit of stick. It's weird because obviously I know the city so well. I've got family in the city. I know a lot of people who work in and that I see in and around the city. So it's it was good. It was nice. The boys gave me a bit of stick, but it was good to get there and just tuck in and work as usual.
Yeah. Any personal goals for the season?
Just try and cement myself in the team, really. I just want to. You know, I understand being a new boy in the squad, you've got to bide your time. Obviously, Reece Priestland at the minute has played exceptionally well in the 2 games that he's had. So it's all about sitting, being patient, and just trying to take your opportunity when it comes. But you know, for me, I want to be part of winning a Premiership, and you know, I've got a 3-year contract at Bath, so I don't see any better occasion and option than this year.
You see Bath as long term now? I mean, I know we said this about Gloucester and things can change, but
I'd like to think so.
In the
yeah,
ideal world.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I'm 27 now. Obviously, I've got a contract that will see me here till I'm 30. You know, hopefully, I can stay past that. We'll see. But yeah, I guess you know, when it came to leaving Leicester and I looked at my options, the only option to play in the Premiership was Bath. For me, I wouldn't have played probably for another club. So it was either Bath or go abroad.
It was a great choice for you to have.
Unbelievable choice, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I say, I guess a lot of my disappointment in the media can seem like that I'd prefer to be at Leicester, but that's not the case. It was more disappointment how it got handled there. I couldn't be happier to be here.
Which I think fans at home and people don't understand, because obviously they haven't lived through that process of almost being pushed out like you did. And they don't really understand it from a player's point of view most of the time.
I think there is that, but I think both sets of fans have been great with me. I think the Leicester fans were great with me leaving, and you know, for me, I already feel a connection to the Bath fans because I'm a Bath boy. Like I'm one of them in many ways. So yeah, hopefully I can just keep performing. If I play well, I'm sure the fans will enjoy me. If I don't, I'm sure
I'm sure they'll let you know if you don't.
The villains. So no, it's like I say, I couldn't be happier to be here, and I just want to push on and crack on here.
Do you mind if we look at some social media questions?
Now let's crack on.
We asked some people on Facebook if they wanted to ask you any questions.
We're gonna get some stick now.
The top question is from John.
John, I'm already liking this from John.
John has said, if you were a mad scientist, who in the team would you experiment on? It's a strange question, John.
If I was a mad scientist, who would I experiment on?
John must have a lot of spare time.
I'd probably go someone like Kane Palmer Newport.
Yeah.
He's just like a big hairy, his
beard is amazing.
It's almost like he's not quite evolved yet, which is probably why I'd want to experiment on him, just to see sort of what's going on there. But yeah, probably Kane.
Robin has said, as a Bath lad, what are your memories of playing at the local club as a kid?
I've been lucky. I've had a couple. So I've picked up my professional career. I started down at Avon, which was great. I think that their mini setup and youth setup down there was quality. I used to love playing down there. Then I played a few senior games up at Oldfield for a year or two, and then my old man went across and played for Coombe Down. So I'm probably more affiliated to Coombe Down at the minute. But you know, rugby in Bath is great. We're lucky we've got Bristol just around the corner as well. So there were some big old games. You know, Somerset Cups and Bristol Combination Cups and Bath Combination Cups are what I played in growing up. So now a really good place to play your rugby as a youngster.
Yeah. Right, Helen has got quite a good question. If you could choose any rugby player, living or dead, to mentor you for a week, who would it be and why?
Oh, what a question.
This could take a while to answer. Good question, Helen.
Mentor me for a week. Now, I've been very fortunate in my career to come across some absolute legends. I mean, at Leicester we had John de Villiers at Leicester, we had Brad Thorne at Leicester. I've already worked with him, but I'd love to work with Carlos Spencer. I had a little bit with him at Gloucester in my very early years, and I learned so much off him. And he's my kind of player, a bit of a flair player. So yeah, I'd love to do a bit of work with Carlos again.
This question is from Alistair. Who would have won that fight between Ellis Genge and Richard Cockerell?
Genji. Genji's my boy.
Yeah.
I'll back Genji.
There you go.
I think it'd be a hell of a fight. It'd be like two pit bulls going at it, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If you could make, this is from Mark, if you could make a chant about yourself that the crowd would sing every game, what would it be? Live performance is required for this one,
I don't know. I quite like, I've thought about this.
You've already thought about
Well, no,
this?
I remember when I was in the academy at Bath, they did songs when players scored tries that were played. I think I want Disco Inferno by the Tramps, but it's not really a chant, so it'd just be, hang on.
How are you going to get you into
Burns,
it?
well, it'd just be Burns, Freddie Burns. Disco Inferno, Burns,
that
Freddie
works.
Burns. That would work for me, I'd like that.
Yeah.
Or I remember being at Tottenham. I hate Tottenham, but I went to watch them play. I'm a Chelsea fan, but I got given tickets to watch them against Real Madrid a few years ago. So I went. I had to sit in the Tottenham end, but I was supporting Real Madrid, and they won 1-0. And they did na 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 Rafa van der Vaart. So I'm not sure I've got the syllables right. No. Freddie Burns.
Yeah, that works.
Something like that. Something along those
it's
lines.
quite quick though.
I do wish
that
rugby was a little bit more like football in that sense.
Yeah, as in the chants can be a little bit boring.
So I was very fortunate at Leicester. They used to chant a lot. They used to chant a fair bit.
What were they chanting about you?
Freddie, which was
just Freddie.
I'll take that. I will take that.
Well, at least you know it's about you.
Yeah, at least it's not like dear again. Do you know what I mean? I'll take that.
Could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Do you want one more question?
Mate, fire away. I'm enjoying the questions. They're quite good.
Here we go. This is quite a deep question.
I'm good at getting deep. You've seen that already.
From Paul. Yeah. The fans love the club, but does the club love the fans? That is very
Jesus,
emotional.
man. What's his name?
deep.
Paul?
Paul, yeah.
Jesus, is he alright? No, I think they do. I think you see, one thing I'm surprised that Bath do, which Leicester didn't, is they always do a lap of honour after a game, thank the fans. I think Todd Blackadder's brought in a big change in trying to connect the club to the city again.
Yeah.
In the pre-season we trained at places like CrossFit Bath, we trained it at the University Rowing Club. So I think we definitely are trying to get back into connecting with the fans in the city, which is good.
Right, I'm going to do one more, because this question says, how was it playing for Gloucester growing up as a Bath fan? Was it difficult at first, and did you ever truly become Gloucester?
I think I did, mate.
And I'm going to show you the second comment. I'm not going to say it out loud. If you look, it's the one in the middle. You look at the response to it.
Unless he grew an extra finger and webbed feet, he never truly become a Gloucester.
I didn't say that. That was him.
I do like this. This is one thing. Robin said, to be fair, Bath didn't give him a contract. Gloss did. It's not a hard choice. A lot of people don't like Bath offered me a contract. So there's a lot of people think that Bath snubbed me.
Reply to Robin. Say,
no, it's
you're wrong.
I tell you what. One thing I always do when I play, I'll give my all for that.
Yeah.
And I played 100 and I think up near 130 games for Gloucester. I was definitely Gloucester. I hated Bath.
You hated Bath?
Yeah, I had to.
Well, because you had to. Yeah,
I had no choice. And those rivalries were bigger. It's like if you play FIFA with your mate, right?
Yeah.
This might be a poor night, but if you play FIFA with your mate, the biggest rival is your best mate because of the respect. Like, you want bragging rights. You want.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You want the if I bought a 10-year-old girl in here, and she beat you on FIFA, you wouldn't really care because they're not really your rivals. Whereas if I turned around and brought in
you would get a lot of stick for it.
You would get stick for it, but if you brought in your best mate straight away, right, I've got to beat him.
Yeah.
So that was it for me. Bath was like my big brother, my better mate. I had to beat him so I could have bragging rights.
Yeah.
And then slowly and then you leave Gloucester, you go to Leicester, you got to hate Bath even more.
Yeah.
But there was always a bit of me that supported Bath all the time.
Did you keep an eye on results and things like that?
No, I did, more to the point that I didn't want Bath to win anything while I wasn't there. Which is surely completely understandable.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, yeah.
Because I was at Leicester, I wanted to win things there.
Yeah.
That year that Bath were in the Premiership final, oh God, fans might hate me, but that year Bath in the Premiership final against Sarries, I was praying Sarries won.
Because you want to be at
Just
Bath
because,
when they win.
the reason being, because I want to be the guy who plays for Bath when they win their first major trophy since 2008. Well, that was the Amlin Cup. 1998, if you want to be, say, one of the top two.
Yeah.
I probably just lost a load of fans and a load of friends from saying that.
You haven't. He hasn't.
I hope not, please. Yeah. So that probably. That's about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that's
Well,
all
answer
the
your
questions
questions?
answered. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Legend. Cheers. Pleasure.